This is the Bar Steward's Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
Good evening. Welcome to the Bar Stewards Weekend podcast. It's the great St Wilfrid weekend with the Hungerford Stakes also at Newbury. And joining me this evening to chew the fat and give you the very best of our wisdom is John Lang, Jack Veach and Nick Davis. Good evening, chaps.
Good evening, Lee.
Evening, Lee. Evening, all.
Yes. John, say you've had 2 tins of malts. You still sound miserable.
I am miserable, that's
I know, it's a northern thing. We've gone to the best bets round. This is the round as always, which, is 1, 2 and 3 points. And this is the round you like. Hopefully we'll make some profit on Saturday or maybe Sunday if anybody's got any Sunday bets. Right, Jack, I'm going to kick off with you for your 1-pointer.
Well, Lee, my 1-pointer goes in the Great St Wilfrid itself. I thought we better start off there. Also liking here is Grant Shewar's Sophia Starlight. I know this is one that we've had up on Edge before, and she's done us a couple of touches this season. And I thought was really impressed by her second last time out at Goodwood. Saddle slipped really early on in the race, so pretty much everything that could go wrong did go wrong, and she was really game. Only got collared late by executive decision, who's gone in and won again since in the racing league, so that form is pretty decent. I think my angle here, I know High Draw used to play hot, but I think it's more of a pace thing. So 9 out of the last 10 of these have been won by horses who've either led or been prominent, and we'll be getting that from her. Obviously with the tailwind, that will certainly suit a front runner, and with the rain, if it does come, she's already shown that she's perfectly adept on softer than sound conditions. So I thought at a double figure price off a nice low weight, that was a good place to start.
Indeed. 11-1 generally available, and 12-1 if you're lucky enough to have the old Port Vale account. But nevertheless, 11s for proofing purposes. And you have got that big tailwind tomorrow. Big tailwind at Ripon, blowing them up. So they'll not stop. They'll not stop on the front end no matter what. They'll keep rolling. Yes, and that's what we like. Except for the owner, I like your bet. 11-1 for Jacko for a 1-point win to kick us off. Nick Davis.
Well, I'm going on the same lines. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go for a related double. Now, tomorrow at Ripon, it's due to get a bit of rain, and I think low draws could dominate both races.
Yes, I agree.
In the first race, you've got the pace, 3, 8, 11, pressers, 6, 9, 12, and you've got the hold-ups in 16, 18, 15, and pressers 17 and 19. And
this in the 240, yeah, the first
240.
one. Yeah.
And in the 315, you've got front from 3, 6, pressers 9, 11, 12. And on the stand side, all you got is the front 19 and 13 and 15, the pressers. And when it rains there, you can get far side domination. I agree with Jack, but I want to go for glory here. I'm going to bank up Thornaby Pearl with Summerhand and Sophia Starlight, 2 half-point doubles.
Ooh, that's
go for a related double, yeah.
That's It's a left field bet.
Filthy stuff. I love it.
It is. It's filthy. It is. It's filthy. He's busting to catch John and Quentin at the top of the table. Thornaby Pearl, that is. I can give you 9s, Nick, as your banker, as a half-a-point double. And in the 315, what were you 2 again? I missed them.
Summerhand.
Yeah. Summerhand
and Sophia Starlight.
Yeah, for the draw angle. 11-2 Summerhand and 11-1 Sophia Starlight in Nick's 2 half-point doubles. Good stuff. Jonas.
I'd like a Union Jack plays, like.
on the League 2 football.
Do you want the bonus as well?
Of course. Right, this is a culmination of a year-long project, actually, and it's in the 420 at Newmarket, and it's Claire Cox's Classic Speed. I've been following this one since a blatant not-off at Newbury, second time up last season, I've convinced myself that now is the hour. He's been run fit this year. He was fat for his 8th on Unraceable at Leicester first time up, and he showed improvement behind our old mucker Docklands at Ascot. He wasn't off, but he showed improvement. Then he was out the cock at Windsor. He stumbled at the start. He got messed about. Also, you could tell if you were watching these horses move, he's moving like a 10 furlong horse anyway. He was out of place in that race. But that was his sharpener after being off 2 months for a gelding up. Now, he's a half-brother to 4 Black Tapers, this horse. And this is a 10 furlong race with a kilt horse in to make an even pace. There should be no excuse whatsoever here. 1 point win.
Can't give you a price yet. It's 28 with Port Vale, so you know the rules. I'll give you the best 2 when they open up.
Well, it's raised them, won't it? We might as well just...
2 rule books, John.
Oh, yeah. That's a fucking one then, isn't it?
Funny as. Yeah, good stuff, mate. Nice big price to kick your 3 off. 240 Ripon I'm going as well, seeing as the Ripon theme and the tailwind and the draw, as Nick and Jack have pointed out with their selections drawn low. I'm going against Nick in his race with Prince of Bel Lear. This is dropped to a good mark now, and it bounced back to form last time. It's a very uncomplicated ride. It bounces out the traps. Ping. Alice Bond in the saddle. I don't think she'll have to do much. Just sit on it, really. The one it beat at Salisbury was one they'd been stopping to get right down, and it landed a gamble for the Bridger team of all teams. But they got it down about £30. And it pissed up last time out, and it sort of missed the kick, and it was flying at the death at this. But I like the form, because if you take that out, it's won that race very comfortably. And I think with the back class that it's got, again, I like the apprentice. I don't mind the quiet lass in the saddle, because he basically just pings the ledge, sit on it, just let it go. Don't do anything. So 11-1 generally available. That's where my 1 point win goes. So if Nick's half point double doesn't kick off, I hope mine does. Second round, John.
We're off to Ripon, because we like Ripon. This is 135, and this is one for notebook avid readers and fans and people just look for something to read while they're having a shit. And it's Monsieur Melly of Jed O'Keefe's.
Yeah.
Now, I had a bit of a word for this before its debut, that this was head and shoulders above all these other 2-year-olds, so it's the pick of the 3 in his yard. Anyway, ran a very promising race, I thought, first time up at Donny. Was as green as buggery, really. Chivied into the bridle from the off. But once here we go, cliche time. Once the penny dropped and he knew what was going on, he ran right nice. He's good-bodied sort as well. You would expect him to improve. 8 weeks off, and you'd say around 10 to 12 paces of work. I'm seeing vast improvement here. He's an Intello, so I don't think any rain will be an issue. 2 points win. 2 points win,
John. I like your column and your reasoning there. 8-1, that's with Port Vale, but again, no one else has priced up yet, so I can't do anything.
It's started 4 to 6, eh?
So 2 rule books will come out for that one this evening and give you a fair crack at the whip.
Odds on.
Quentin Franks is rubbing his hands here. I don't know why I'm doing this, because it's going to cost me, innit? The 2 points win for me goes in the 3 o'clock at Newbury, the Summer Sizzler Handicap.
Good title, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I quite like one in here, Spangled Mac, George Bowie's. Gets the pieces for the first time, but one of the key sort of like variables to the bet as well. It ran well on the far side in its race at Ascot. I thought, yeah, it's not chucked in or anything, but I don't think anything is in this race. So I'm not really bothered about handicap marks. I think it comes down to run of the race, and that means that because of that strong southwesterly in the faces, that's sort of half headwind. I wouldn't want anything drawn low on the straight course at Newbury tomorrow, so I'd want to be sheltered as much as possible. And I think with the draw pieces, Buick, I think the 9-1's gone, which I was sort of hoping for, but 8-1 is available. So I can have that as second best. But yeah, 2 points win 8-1. Just mainly playing the variables. like I said, I can't see a well handicapped horse in there unless someone can change my mind on that later when we do it in the TV preview. Okay, let's move on.
I can see the headline now. Spangled bolts up for Bowie in the Sizzler.
The Sizzler. We move on to who shall I come to? Jack, I'll come to you for your 2-pointer.
Well, Lee, you've pretty much put me off my case there, but I'm gonna try and change your mind a bit in that race.
Okay, yeah,
good. Give an alternative opinion. I'm going with Richard Hannon Train Classic here. Now, draw is the red flag for me here. I wasn't, delighted with Trap 1, but the way this horse is ridden, he travels into his races pretty well. He'll be dropped in, so you'll be riding for a bit of luck, which might be the negative here. But I think I was impressed with his win last time out. I thought he travelled into the race really nicely, kicked late over the long time leader New Business and saw out the race nicely. I don't think a £2 rise is going to halt his progress entirely. Look at the form of that. Novus ran 2 brilliant races at Goodwood, ultimately winning a well-deserved one on the second occasion. The only other horse to come out of that race so far is Merlin the Wizard in 5th, and he's won a handicap at HQ off 88. So that stood up pretty well. It was a horse that was really held in high regards as a 2-year-old, and I guess hence the name. They might have thought ambitions of stakes races were on the cards with this one, but I think he's just coming to the fore now, and I was quite happy to chance him again tomorrow as a sort of, I think, 7-1 shot. Thought pretty fair.
Yep, 7-1 Entain and Boyle Sports as we go head to head in the Sizzler tomorrow. And yeah, Jack, look, I did like Classic's win last time. I was quite impressed with it.
So what's a conflict tonight, isn't there?
There is. Yeah, it's like fucking Twitter with Lord Malvo and Rob Davis.
I listened to Betting Only Better earlier, and they were chuffing about in the same races all the time. And when it came to the naps, I think 2 of the fuckers went in the Grey Horse Handicap as well.
Yeah, it's one of them sort of weekend. Like Saturday, I think tomorrow it's tough. You don't want to like be like Babe Ruth tomorrow. You want to be more like boycott. It's I'm not selling this.
Your missus in the bathroom. Spend the weekend.
Old Geoffrey, yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
Going back in time now. Yeah, old Geoffrey.
And they're on tile floor, pounding away for a quarter of an hour.
Yeah.
And he wasn't shagging her.
Yeah. It resembled his batting really, as he kept missing ball for about 5 overs. He must have frustrated many a fast bowler, old Geoffrey, because they couldn't make him edge it.
He wasn't good enough half at time.
Imagine that in Bazball.
He'd clear the fucking stadium, wouldn't he?
Indeed. Right.
14 not out at lunch on his test comeback.
14. Yeah, but there was nothing like a bit of Test cricket where you could sort of sit back, have a few pints, and then you wouldn't miss anything. You could fall asleep for a little while.
If you watch like Lord's Test, brilliant when they pan on Lord's balcony on at members area, because half of the cunts are all asleep, aren't they? I mean, even in Bazball.
If Boycott was batting, you could nip home, finger blast your sister, note the pictures, come back, and he'd still have only added 5.
You should take your own booze into Lord's as well. One time.
No, our times have changed. Yeah, it's 10 quid a pint now. Right, Nick, finish the round off, please.
Right, then we go to the Grey Horse Handicap. The Grey Horse Handicap. Newmarket are due a bit of rain. It's on the far side course. So what do you want? You want horses drawn very high, because you get the wind form and you get the trees blocking. You usually got a little strip like there was a few weeks ago when Dutch Decoy sizzled up the rail to beat. I can't remember what it was anyway. But those 2 were well clear, and some decent 3-year-olds were in the middle. I'm Dutching Divine Libra and Music Society, drawn in 13 and 15 in this race. They won't mind any deviation in the going, and I think that Strike might want it a bit faster, as Matro's on Fire might. So those 2 just in a 1-point Dutch. I think really clever about it, but
you can have 4-1 Divine Libra, and you can have, is it Music Society? That's 10-1.
Yeah, that's lovely. That'll do.
So 4-1 and 10-1 for Nick. You sure you don't want a Trixie?
I'm looking forward to your Goliath, Nick,
We're
as your 3-pointer.
at the 2-point stage, and expect 30 fucking asses.
We'll not be able to fit. We'll not be able to fit a mid-table.
What? I'll go and slip.
So that's the 2-point round finish. Cheers, gentlemen. Fun as always, and some cracking opinion and selections. Right, we move on to the 3-point round. And this is where everyone listens to these because everyone wants to know. So who's going to kick us off? I'll kick us off. It's the boring old one that everyone's expecting everyone to tip. Yes, Klondike. 150. It's one of them. It's pissed John off slightly because obviously that was John's bet for the Voltager. They've come here to the Geoffrey Freer at the behest of Sir William Haggas, the shirt. And I think this is probably in a way the right move. I think York might have found Klondike out over the 12, depending on the ground really. If it had gone with a little bit of cut at York, it might do, but that'd have been fine. But I think the 13 furlongs and a bit of cut, I think will suit this horse. There's not a lot of cut in the ground, and I don't get the money for Arrest because Arrest has only ever shown his form literally on soft and heavy. It's got to be really slow for Arrest to show its form. Every other ground it's ran on, it beat Desert Hero on 3 seconds slow ground at Sandown, which would be sort of on soft, about what it's going to probably get tomorrow. Big wow. I just think Arrest form is soft and heavy. It's that simple. So unless it carts it down, and we do end up with soft heavy at Newbury tomorrow. In fact, I might as well, while we're on, let's check the old Danish weather.
It's all right when I last checked, Lee. I think 25 or something degrees.
Yeah, I think they've had it, haven't they? I mean, there's a chance for an odd shower overnight. But, I mean, look at this tomorrow. It's good. Yeah, 24 degrees tomorrow. That southwesterly might fool a few punters thinking it's slower, it's softer ground than it is. With headwind into it.
It's been backed as if it's already heavy, hasn't it?
Absolutely. The price now.
It's been put up at 3-1 by a couple of pundits, but
it's
now priced if it's heavy ground.
Yeah, that is a wrong price for Arrest. Obviously, popular with the Tory. Klondike now is I think a very generous price. It's 5-1 with Betfair and Paddings. That should last as long as that won't be there in the morning. So 5-1 Klondike I think is huge. That's where my 3 points win shall go because for obvious reasons that run at Goodwood behind Gregory, forget the Bahrain Trophy run, that was Marquand absolutely useless on it that day. Held up off a slow pace, but the run behind Gregory, he was very strong through the line there. John noticed that as well straight after the race, didn't you, John? How strong he was through that line. And I think you'll see a huge performance tomorrow from this.
To be fair to this house, he's come a long way in a short space of time, hasn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
Given that the third run was a write-off, you know, and Arrest had anything but a straightforward season, really. I mean, you don't know if he'll still fancy it after failing the ground the last twice.
Well, he could have fucked it, exactly. You've seen it with horses like this where they do run them on too quick ground and he might start to think, I've got to look after myself here. He turns up thinking, well, I'm going to look after myself. So, like you said, that's how you can sort of knock an horse's confidence. So, yeah, at that price now, it's ridiculous. So Klondike is a very hefty bet for me at that price, 5-1, if that's available in the morning, which it won't be. That's why I'm giving it you lot. Okay, so there we go. Where shall I come to next? Nick, your nap, please.
My nap. All right, a combination tricast. No, I'm going in the. We're going to Ripon, but we're going in the 350 at Ripon, and we're going win only on Chalet, who went off really stupid pace, finished last time out. The only one of the first 6 that finished in the first 4, I think its finishing speed was 94%. Good run before that, at York. And if he doesn't lose his nut again, he sits about second or third in this front-running gas heap, which is record at Ripon. Reads, where have I got on my notes? Ripon, he's been 2-4-1-1. So he's got a fair record there. He might have a bit of pace pacer from Spirit Catchers, but it's drawn a bit wide. You're being finicky you could have a forecast with to finish second at Garden Oasis, just in case that comes and does him. But I think his handicap mark is well below his winning best, and last time you can just forget that run. So unless Connor Beasley has another brain fart and goes off too fast, 3 points wins. Chalet, I think there's a couple of prices. That's all.
5 to 1 generally available.
That was it, right? Oh yeah, I'll take 5 to 1. 3 points. 5 to 1.
3 on the nose. Chalet well handicapped. Highlighted it myself in a column. Like you said, Nick, went off too fast last time, and I agree. But a lot of pace pressure. That's the only worry I would say. There's quite a few here that might be pressing this.
If there's providing it doesn't go silly and he doesn't try to lead everything. I think he's got a very good chance there.
Agreed.
A few of the pressures are wide. Dungar Glorious wide. Spirit Catchers in 6. Garden Oasis can go forward. That's from 9. They've got to use up a lot of petrol as well. So providing he doesn't go sit up, all mine see him sitting for second, third. He doesn't have to lead to win.
No, he doesn't. No, I don't know why they seem to be blasting off with him. They blasted off with him at York. Blasted off last time. Blast off. Don't know what they're doing. But anyway, so I hope they take a lead in a way and just sit second, third.
Yeah.
But Chalet for Nick, 3 at 5 to 1. Good selection. Jack?
My 3-pointer league goes in the Hungerford, and I'm going to be siding with the 3-year-olds generally here, because I think he won't go off Fav. He's been on the drift all day, but Chindit favourite for any race beyond Lincoln Meeting is nonsense. He has one good run a year, goes well fresh, and that's it. So I'm fully against him. And then you got Jumbie and Pogo, both capable of putting in a big performance on their day, but particularly Pogo hasn't shown best form at all this year, and I felt they were priced right. And the one I feel is priced wrongly is the which Rog is it? Is he Daft Rog, Thick Rog? I never quite know. But
it's Thick Roger.
Thick Rog, thought so. The
Yeah.
Thick Rog trained New Endeavour. I think back at 7 furlongs is certainly appealing. He's shown quite a lot of sort of early speed over his mile races, and whilst the form's not worked out kind of I guess results wise, I still hold the Britannia in decent regard. The winner's a very good horse. New Endeavour won his race far side that day pretty comfortably, and he's gone on and ran a decent third in the Henry Cecil. Obviously Nostrum has bounced since, but that is plausible given he had such a big layoff. Investo ran really well yesterday and dead heated in the Sovereign, so I think that stood up pretty well, and I think the drop back to 7 here is certainly of interest, as long as it isn't too soft. But given we've just had that discussion, it should be fine. I believe he's been sold to Oz. He's with the Guy Waterhouse lot, so it's probably one of his last races here before he heads down for the money in Oz. But I thought at a double figure price he was particularly interesting. I'm hoping they ride him. I don't want to see him lead, given that the wind that you mentioned, but I think to utilise that finishing speed that he's got over 7, Marquand over Egan is certainly a positive, and I was quite confident on his chances tomorrow. So 3-point win at I see there's 14s in one place, but obviously we don't want our 2 rule books, so happy to row him with the general 12s that I think's on offer.
Yes, you can have 12s. You can for that, Jack. You're on the nose, yes?
On the nose, yeah. I'm chasing ground in the old Naps table, so I could do with one of these landing.
Indeed, why not? 3 on the nose for Jack on New Endeavour at 12 to 1. Lovely selection in the Hungerford. John?
This is in the 350 at Ripon, and we have a conflict of opinion.
We have a difference of opinion, Geoffrey. Yeah.
We do indeed. I am siding with Grant Chewers, the Terpinator. Now, we've seen this one's marked decline in line with some, what shall we say, inappropriate or ill-judged hold-up rides when they're patently not suited the track, the situation, or both. Now, to me, there is a busload of pace on here. You've got Spirit Catcher, Charlie Johnson, Joe Fanning, he's going forward from 6. Garden Oasis doesn't know anything other than going to the front round Ripon. Dungar Glory's a pace presser. Giza Sub will be going handy because he's dropping down in trip and Tom Hayes won't be able to hold him. Indiana Bay will go forward from the outside draw as well from Bethel, as will Laredo. And then you got Hugo Gregory on the inside. This will look like Balaclava a furlong out. There'll be ambulance sirens, there'll be stretchers and oxygen and you name it, it'll be there. Sam James will have kept out there all this carry-on and he will come sailing through and take this. I'll have 16s, please.
For Stan James. Stan James. Bygone era, now Unibet, of course. So the Terminator for Grancher and Stan James for Jonas. 14s, 3 on the nose, John, definitely, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Love it. Thanks, chaps, for a splendid set of rounds there. Some good opinion and some conflict in opinion. Like John says, a lot of conflict around in the world today. And we're doing that with the selections, but hopefully we might land on something.
It's like the Ukrainian border in here tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Some grenades chucked in and all sorts.
Like Zelensky, I'm sat here in my combat with my cannon monster.
Make sure we don't fall out ahead of York, lads. We're.
I'm going to say, yeah, meeting up at York next week.
It'd be best if we're all not speaking.
I know. Anyway, right, TV time. So there we go. This is where we have a look at TV races in question. We'll start off at the 2 at Ripon, where, to be honest, we've not really a lot to add because we kind of discussed it in the earlier rounds where we said the 240 race. I'm confident that the low draws will play out in both the Wilfrid and the Silver Trophy. So I stand by that. Any thoughts? Anyone else? Any thoughts to add on what we've already discussed on the 240 race?
I'll throw in one for Happy Tim here if I can. He's looked dead this year on the whole, so it could be a moot point. But Snash, yeah, I mean, low draw angle, as we've already discussed, off a mark of 73, which is it's his lowest for ever, actually, by quite some distance. So you might be, dealing with a horse that's just gone at the game, but he's mildly interesting at the prices, if I'm being honest.
I mean, 4 to more you could sort of chuck in. Mark's Choice, 4 to more for me is on the wrong side, but Mark's Choice is another one that absolutely loves this gas pit. Numerous wins. How many wins has Mark's Choice had here?
56, I think.
I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? I'm just looking now, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 races. Mark's Choice here. So, again, but I mean, look at the pilot they've got. I mean, come on, man. Dougie. It's just awful pilot. So there we go to that one. Nick, anything for you to add? John, anything?
Cooperation didn't run badly in that. He was second of 2, I know, but in the Stewards Constellation, that didn't run too badly. It's over the right side. No, there's nothing really more else to add. I mean, the only danger we've got is if there's too much rain comes, you get a few withdrawals. That happened a few years ago, and there's not enough runners, so they won't go far side. That's the only danger you can have.
Yeah, I mean, we know how thick they are. Oh, God. I mean, our jocks, I'd say this is the thickest period we've ever had, like, in terms of jockeys, like, really thick. We've seen it at Ascot. I mean, when Ailey Turner come out with that one on Nick Luck, and I nearly fell out of my chair. So they asked her why the horses weren't going stand side. And she said, well, it's because, they might be a little bit afraid of the crowd.
Depends which course it is, though, Lee. You could get some right shitholes, can't you?
Well, I mean, can you believe that, though? I mean, of all the things you could say of why they're not exploring that stands rail, and she says, well, horses don't necessarily like getting close to the crowd. Fuck off, Ailey. What a load of fucking shit that was. It's terrible. John, can you believe such madness?
Yes.
Have they got rid of the crocodiles at the far right York yet?
Well, this is the other thing. I mean, going back to yesteryear, when we, the old York meetings of years gone by, and they were limpet-like to that far rail. Limpet-like, around the round courses, not saying on the straight course, but on the round course, they were absolutely, all tight to that far rail. Now it seems every meeting, the jockey who leads usually swings off into the middle, which, if you think about it, is bizarre. Because if you're a front runner,
why would too many behind your options there?
A clean run. So why would you swing off into the middle? You'd stick tight to the rail, meaning that everyone else, you're taking the race in line, and everyone else then has got to adopt, like Johnson's adopt a clean run. They're absolutely bonkers, this lot. They're it's like a set of Richard Perhams, isn't it?
They should have having a blue bus, shouldn't they, be fair?
I mean, it's
just herd them out like fucking pigs. You've got a board either side keeping them in and just herd them towards the weighing room.
I'm sorry, but I have to agree with all this. I've never seen a set as bad as this. In fact, most of my bets, I panic, because I think, what are they going to do here? Every time it's not. Am I on the best horse? It's like, oh, what the fuck are they going to do here?
Well, some of them you might as well stick a fucking blowfish up there.
Because they need a good sauna, isn't it? That's what's gone wrong here.
Oh no! Don't say that. Don't say that to.
Don't start dehydrating the fuckers on top of that.
Yeah, don't say that to Julie Harrington.
Leave that one for the sermon. I think if you boys can be bothered to cover that shit.
Absolutely. I mean, John's quote this week in his article.
Brilliant.
Well, it's one of the quotes of the week, really. What was it? Something like career waffle bag.
Career waffle bag.
It's one of.
You've just put that up on her LinkedIn profile, I think. John,
if John could edit it like Wikipedia, he would. He'd go in and put careerist waffle bag. Anyway, we better get on to St Wilfrid, Carnage. Yeah. Summergand, obviously, big claims.
You asked me for fancy out in Silver Plate.
Oh, I'm so sorry, John. I was so excited with your careerist waffle bag shit that I've run away with myself. Sorry.
All right, I don't fancy now.
Right.
What is it?
3:15, St Wilfrid. Again, we've sort of covered it off in, Nick has anyway. I did, Jack has as well with Sophia Starlight. I can't really argue much other than that there's only like 2-3 year olds that's won since 97, but circumstances are favourable for Sophia's tomorrow. I think they're very favourable for Stan James. Stan James double, John.
Well, it could be, but I'd be fancying Summergand, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think he's showing an indication he might be coming back to form. He'd probably win this and then win at York.
Yeah, I thought that it'd be here, then on to York next week for that 6th Burnham Handicap.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, okay. We'll move on from one of the best tracks in the country, Ripon, to
the gas pit.
to the gas pit at HQ.
Only two to go after this tomorrow.
So we've got the Greys race. Mm-hmm. Nick's gone for a bet in here with Divine Libra and Music Society. He highlights the draw, which he makes a very good point actually on that. It is not to be rubbished. I think the strong southwesterly in their faces tomorrow will aid that far rail, and I think Nick makes a very good point. And obviously Celtic Champion has the worst of the draw in stall 1, and that is also joint market. Well, now it was market leader. It is now drifted, and Divine Libra has taken that mantle. So to add to Nick, John, anything that you liked in this?
Your great horse race, your Sugar Cup, your racing league. You can blow it out your granny's clout and all that.
One of them Saturdays, isn't it, really? It's just before York. No one cares. Jack, have you anything of wisdom in this?
Well, really, Lee. I mean, we're in an inclusive sport that values woke ideologies. Why have we got such an exclusive race, such as a grey horse handicap?
It's terrible. Terrible.
What about these chestnuts?
Hey, Jack, don't be knocking walk, else there'll be a fucking article in Guardian about us next.
I think there might be, based on my recent followers today. I'm a bit concerned about that. Might get exposed, but yeah, look, no real opinion. I value what Nick said about the high draws, and we've got Cheney, good old Biltong Cheney up on Metro's on fire. So that would probably be my selection if there was going to be one.
Yeah, Metro's on fire as well. Meat, Biltong, yeah, Biltong
exactly,
boy.
yeah. Is it named after that Fulham player? I presume, is that what it is? Mitrovic or whatever.
Mitrovic,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah, idiot. Fancy naming an horse after
I
that.
know.
Useless. So I agree with Nick, actually. It's boring, but Divine Libra, if I had to be on something for my life. And Doyler, I think, rides the July course better than most. I don't know why that is. He just does.
I think he lives on it, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, he's always got to ride all those 2-year-olds every week.
Never misses a meeting.
Yeah, so that would be my pick. John, anything to add other than...
No.
No, than what you said? Right, okay, well, we'll go with Nick's choices there, I think. We move on to Newbury then, where we've got 4 on the old telebox. Starting with Geoffrey Freer, where should we just say Klondike and move on?
Yeah.
Yeah, he owes me a few quid after John's, well thought out Voltager bet. So I'll be trying to get my money back on him tomorrow, I think.
Indeed. 225 then is the 5 furlong handicap that nobody cares what wins at all. No one, unless you're
no pace. No pace.
No pace.
No pace in this race.
No, I know something's got to go on, and I mean maybe old Punch Bowl Flyer might just bomb out or something. I don't know. John O'Shea might want another £6 off its back and go 600 mile an hour. I don't know, but yeah, it's a tricky enough race. John,
when the deal is done, runs his best races for a change of hands, and I think that's quite significant that Bjork's up tomorrow. I think he'll run a good race.
Honestly, if the stable was in better nick, I'd have tipped this. But I just think the stable are very quiet right now.
Yeah. It's just every time he's run a decent race, it's when they've changed the jockey.
He's better than these. When the dealing's done, he's a better class of horse than what he's racing against tomorrow, without a doubt. So I can't knock anyone back in that.
Do you think Tails wasted him a bit?
I think so.
Yeah, I can't believe he's only 87 after 2 years where he keeps showing promise and good form, and he just doesn't seem to go on from it.
Well, yeah, on the 18th of August 2021, we were on him in the York Handicap at the Ebo meeting, and he was off 99 that day.
Yeah, I mean, we were thinking 100 plus. Power.
Anything else to add on that, chaps?
Nope.
Okay, the 3 o'clock is the Sizzler, where me and Jacko have gone head to head with Spangled Mac and Classic. So I'd like to hear Nick's and John's opinion on this.
Go ahead, Nick.
I went through this race quite a bit. I mean, Murphy's got a good old record for Insta, hasn't he? He's 13 rides, 5 wins, 3 places. Highclere needs it softer, as does Hodler. Spangled Mac might need the top of the ground. Muscot is interesting getting back on Lyndon B. That's one of the last couple of times he were on there. Obviously, Classic one win was franked. Hectic was a bit unfortunate last time. Spencer came out, went the wrong way, ended up in the middle of the track on his own, didn't like the ground, and still finished 3rd. So I wouldn't entirely write that off. I had this race as very hard. Hectic's one over here as a 2-year-old as well, good to firm. Very, very hard race. Very, very hard race for me to get along. I mean, there's a few can ring it up. I could rule out, but there's not that many you can say that cannot win. Top Secret I'd rule out. Hodler I'd rule out. Highclere I'd rule out. Accidental Agent I'd rule out. I mean, Bless Him could run a race from the back if he smuggled into it as well. So very, very hard race.
What about Alpha Capture?
Very, very hard to sort of get what it is. They've stuck a visor on it.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. I mean, he started the season off 103.
Yeah.
It's off 85, and it's the shirt. I mean, I know it's in no form, but I mean, I suppose you could say at that price, anyone looking back and say, well, this is if the visor just suddenly springs it into life again, who knows? That might be huge at 18s for anyone wanting a big price. Jack?
no. Made the case for classic really, and that'd be my selection here. But yeah, I get it's an interesting point about Alpha Capture. You're right. I mean, that's a huge weight drop, but it would be one of those where you'd be like, oh, for fuck's sake, if that scoots in off, big price, but hard to fancy given his form this year, I'd say.
Yeah, great, John.
Scholarship. I've put a note on this one when it ran on the 12th of May, saying needs blinkers or gelding again. and the time after they put cheap paces on, I thought, that's interesting. I'll keep an eye on that. It was like a cat on hot bricks at Airdop, so I don't know whether he was on the ground or whether the paces lit him up too much, but it was awful. He was moving terrible anyway. And it was a much faster surface than he'd been racing on this year. Then they took him to Sandown, and Al Rosser rode one of his typical Sandown rides where he spends 3/4 of the race trying to get the fucking thing settled. And that was race over, basically, 7 round there. So I think there's a little bit of wiggle room here. He's 1 off 86, he's on 87, he's got the requested blinkers on. So I think he could run all right here. I wasn't strong enough to put him up as a point bet or anything like that, but he was on the short list, this one.
That's an interesting shout. Interesting shout indeed. Right, we come on to the 335, which is the Hungerford. And I agree with Jack here on Chindit. I would be keen to take this horse on. I've never been a fanatic of what this horse can do. It'd be interesting.
I'm thinking in the lockings. What kind of lockings was that?
A desperate one. In fact, I can remember commenting on the show. We were all saying we're trying to take modern games on, but it's like My Prospero Trip. I think you like LaSalle. That was like it ran all right. 33 6th. It's one of them. It's just
rotten race.
A rotten race. And I think Chindit, he's one of them horses that I just think, like Jack makes a good point. Turns up once a year in spring and that's it. And I'd be hugely against that. Pogo might bounce.
Hey.
Yeah. I'm awful tonight. What out the box here from me is Mama's Girl. Just out the box. Won the Nelgwyn. Disappointed in the Guineas. Disappointed badly at Ascot. So they dropped her to 6, thinking she shouldn't stay a mile. Missed the kick.
Right, didn't she?
And she ran all right and kept going. And you felt like she needed more ground. 6 were no good to her. So 7 might just be a 7 furlong.
So it only took Annan 3 runs to return it to her optimum trip. He's learned fast, that boy. So I thought she could run well at a big price. If she doesn't run well in that tomorrow, because it's not a great race in all fairness. She's killed it if she doesn't.
Yeah, Mama's Girl. I might chuck a 50 on or something at decent odds. Nick, thoughts?
It might be interesting to see where the 3-year-olds are in the pecking order. They haven't really, Paddington apart. What 3-year-old has really come out and run well in these events, old age events at the moment? At the big end, they're not doing it in the big handicaps. It'd be interesting to see. We haven't had that many sort of comparisons. This could give a decent comparison to the ones in between 100 and 110. You've got a good sort of selection here, so it might give us a thing where they are.
So I've told you, I mentioned to you before about 3-year-olds against the older horses up to a mile are generally a negative. I don't think the weight for age is enough. It can't be, because you make money blind laying them over a year. That doesn't mean to say, like, if you're good enough as a 3-year-old, like a good batch, it won't matter. They'll beat the older horses, but in general, over time, a 3-year-old is disadvantaged up to. I mean, well, it's common sense, because everyone has played the angle for years when the 3-year-olds over 10 and 12 furlongs and 14 furlongs against the elders because of the weight for age. But they've got the weight for age wrong at the lower end of the scale, and that's still apparent to this day. So, like you say, this probably tells you where you are with the 3-year-olds again. I'd agree with that. Jack?
Yeah, nothing more to add really. I certainly respect that point on the 3-year-old crop not being the best, but I don't like the older ones in this race, so that's why I decided to take them on.
Absolutely, I think you have to be subjective. You can't just say, well, 3-year-olds are a disadvantage, because I always say if a 3-year-old looks good enough, it doesn't matter, does it? You know, they'll beat the elders.
It's old enough, it's good enough.
Absolutely, John.
I think you're being a bit unfair on the weight for age scale, to be honest, because when you think Admiral Rouse didn't have a computer at his disposal, he had to work everything out based on his mistress's downstairs fuzz, using it like an abacus. So, I think you should cut the old lad a bit of slack there.
I hope BHA listen to this one.
They're lovers.
Especially that line.
Thank you, Lee. Love you lots.
You careerist waffle bag.
Yeah,
oh dear. That's just about us done, isn't it, really? We're flunked. Anything else to add, chaps? Any other business? Any points of interest before I draw stumps?
No,
not from me, Lee.
Nicholas, no, all good. Alvin Martin says no more. Right. That's it from us on a cracking show. We hope we provide you with profit tomorrow, and we're back again talking absolute nonsense on Sunday. That's me, John and Chris. Yes, get your questions in on Sunday on John's thread. We love a question or two, especially if it insults the racing establishment. That's all from us. Bye for now.